Hey, what's up? So I got a package in the mail today that I wasn't expecting. I mean, I kind of knew it was coming, but I wasn't necessarily expecting that. But it's a package of food from my family, and I'll show you all what's inside because it's definitely stuff that's close to my heart. All right, so I'll be shooting this one-handed, so cut me some slack on the video steadiness, camera steadiness. Right, so most of it, I looked in it briefly, but most of it is meat, which had to be frozen. But in this bag here, we have a pound of Camilla red beans, which are, I guess, the pride and joy of all red bean cooks in New Orleans. This is the brand that everyone uses. To be honest, I mean, I haven't had access to this brand in a long time since it's, for some reason, not sold very far and wide. So you can make red beans that taste good with any red kidney bean, but this is the one that I grew up eating, grew up using. So this I'll save for some special day. If you actually look at my pantry up here, I have some red beans right here, and maybe do a quick color comparison. So you can see these are much darker in color compared to those. These have a more brownish red color. I mean, overall, I know what I'm doing when I'm seasoning, so I can replicate the same taste and no one will be none the wiser, but it is good to have a classic. I'll have to save this for a special occasion. Over here, we have another kind of New Orleans, Southeast Louisiana classic, hot links, which is a form of sausage that's seasoned to be very spicy. So let's open it up and see how it looks. This is, in my family at least, used in gumbo a lot. So it's not like the casing itself is like really soft and the sausage itself is very soft. So it's not like a kind of a traditional Southern Louisiana smoked sausage where the casing is very hard and it snaps when you break it. This is very soft. It's also very oily when you fry it or when you put it in something. It releases a lot of oil, but it's very delicious, adds a lot of flavor to dishes. In particular, gumbo is what my family mostly uses it for. We have andouille sausage, which is a traditional French sausage used a lot in Louisiana cooking. Has a high fat content. So if you look at the side and get a side view of it, you can see that there are these big pieces of fat inside of it. So when you cook with it, those fats are released. They add flavor to the dish, and it's not like a lot of standard sausages like Johnsonville or that's the only one I can think of right now. But they're basically, in my opinion, just giant hot dogs because it's just a sausage casing filled with emulsified meat, whereas this isn't emulsified, so it has like very clear chunks of different things. You can see the chunks of fat, you can see the chunks of meat. Really good flavor stuff. And this is what I meant by more traditional sausage. So D&D is another pretty popular one where I'm from, New Orleans. It's hard to tell, but the sausage casing is a lot harder. When you actually cook it and you like break it into two pieces, the sausage snaps. And even on this, you can see that there's different textures in the sausage itself. So I can kind of get a profile or cross section, I should say. Let's get a good zoom, but you can see the pieces of fat and the pieces of meat. So once again, it's not just like this highly emulsified thing that's pumped into a sausage casing. It's bits of things that are mixed together just enough to get a good mix. But the flavor this adds to dishes is also really great. So this is something that's used in gumbo, used in red beans, used in a variety of dishes, or you can just fry it up plain. So I got two of those. This is a hot version of that. Then last but not least, we have hogshead cheese. This is something that I grew up eating. That I think the main reason I got sent all this stuff was because a couple weeks back when I was talking to my dad, I was telling him how I had the nostalgic urge to eat hog head cheese, and I drove to a couple different stores here in Charlottesville to try and find some, and I didn't find any. I found South's, which is very similar, similar product, but it's uses a lot of vinegar in it, and so it kind of tastes like you're eating like a savory, vinegary, meaty Jello, which I don't really like the taste of vinegar, so it was not that great for me. Didn't really hit the spot. But just a quick, I guess, background on what hog head cheese is. So before refrigeration, and people that, like, I guess were poor and maybe lived in the countryside, where you want to make use of the entire animal as best you could, whether that's like turning the skin into leather, or using the bones to make glue, or any number of things. Hog head cheese is another way to get some extra meat off the animal that normally you wouldn't be able to get. So the name itself is very distinct, hog head cheese. After you would slaughter a pig and extract as much meat as possible, you will mainly be left with the head, which there is some muscle fiber on the head, but there's also a lot of cartilage and stuff. And so what you would do is put that pig's head in a pot and just boil it for a long time. You can add seasonings, etc., to make flavor it however you want. But when you boil animal bones, it releases gelatin in the bones, which a lot of the gelatin that we have, like Jello, uses gelatin. I don't know if that's artificial or if it's from animal bones, but nonetheless, gelatin thickens things, and also the meat cooks and the meat falls off the bone, and the cartilage and stuff, all that stuff starts to break down a little bit. So what you end up getting after it cooks and cools is this kind of gelatinous mass of cartilage and some skin and some muscle fiber, that if you season it right, it tastes delicious. So yeah, this is hog's head cheese. In my opinion, really great stuff. I know that description may be turning some people off. It might just be one of those things that you have to eat it and then judge it, because the description is kind of maybe not so appetizing, but it's good stuff. Reminds me of my childhood. Yeah, so that's it. That's a good bit of stuff. Obviously, since my wife is vegan and I basically do all vegan cooking, a lot of these things won't be going to use right away. I might save them for when I have a party and I want to make gumbo or something. I'll like break out the sausage and other stuff like that. So some of these things might sit in the freezer for a bit. The hog's head cheese, however, will definitely be eaten probably way too fast, and I will regret it. Not in the sense of like I'll get a stomach ache, but I might regret it in the sense of it's all gone. So yeah, this was a sight for sore eyes. Some of these things it's not like I haven't been to New Orleans in years or something, but it does feel like it's been a long time. I haven't been home since Thanksgiving, which is like 7-8 months now, which is actually a long time for me. I'm usually home a couple of times a year. So this is good to see. Yeah, I gave you a little background on kind of some things I grew up with eating and what they mean to me. And most of these things you will not find in your local store unless you live in New Orleans or around, or in Southeast Louisiana in general. So if you ever get a chance to get any of these products, I recommend you get them, try them, and let me know what you think. All right, peace out, homies. Thanks for watching.